Hi, today I have a message called Dominion is Shared. The first thing I was guided to do is to look up the etymology of the word dominion. So I just took that first AI answer that comes up on Google, and it says the word dominion originates from Latin, with its roots tracing back to the Latin words dominus, Lord Master, and domus, house, home. So in these terms, if we think dominion is shared with a goodness without opposite that connects all of us, true dominion. And that if we think of Lord and Master, what do we want to be in charge of? Everything and everyone we see and experience, we want that goodness without opposite to be in charge. Or you could say reality, or you could say God. Okay, so, and Domus, house, home, we're returning home together. Ultimately, it derives from the Indo-European root dem, meaning house, household, and we're all cleaning up our houses or households in terms of our perception of our individual minds and coming to recognize the one mind we share, the one home we share. The Latin dominum meant property, ownership, and we do have a responsibility to allow the cleanup of what we perceive to be our separate mind. So we kind of have, that's our property, which we're allowing the cleanup of, which evolved to mean lordship, rule, or power in the Old French and Middle English, eventually becoming the English word dominion. So lordship, rule, and power, we have these two levels. We take responsibility for what we perceive to be our separate mind and for everything that seems to be contents in it, and for opening up to our one shared mind and accepting the goodness without opposite that we share. And then we have safe dominion because we allow the goodness without opposite that's real about everyone and everything to rule, to be in charge, and then there's no problem there. If we allow innocence to rule, then there's no problem there. Okay, so the short version is your innocence, seen in all, gives what you are with all dominion over all things in your perception. Beyond is here, and you can allow it to appear. The lies you have believed seem to make a protective shield around you. There is a great weight you can allow to be lifted from everyone and everything. Dominion is shared. Okay, so back to your innocence, seen in all, gives what you are with all dominion over all things in perception. So that's the truth of all of us. We are innocence, and we may be seeing things on top of the truth of us, and we may be noticing thoughts about those things we're seeing. We can always set those thoughts down, and we can always turn toward the reality of the innocence within us all and put that innocence in charge. That's true dominion. We may perceive a distorted or warped form of dominion playing out in the physicality. And that's a moment to remember that I see what I want to see. I believe it because I want to see it. And I need help when that's my state of affairs. When I don't feel good, I believe thoughts and I see representatives of those thoughts because I wanted to see them. So I have to find a place, a decision point where I no longer want to see these things, where I want my perception corrected, where I allow our shared innocence to have dominion over all. So that's the opportunity I always have, and it never leaves me. Your innocence, seen in all. If you can accept you're innocent, everyone's innocent. Their being is innocent. Gives what you are with all dominion over all things in your perception. So if our perception can be entirely 100% cleaned up to reflect only what is real, only what is true, nothing deceptive about anyone or anything, we have to acknowledge how very flexible our perception is, and then put it consistently in the right hands by calling ourselves on it when we don't feel good, because that means we're holding on to a thought that would give us a perception and experience of guilt having dominion over everything we perceive, and we don't want that anymore. It really is that simple to make the switch over to innocence from guilt, over to goodness without opposite, to that from the perceived interplay of good versus evil, or bad versus good. That's a perception. Perception's very flexible. We always see what we want to see. If we see an interplay of good and evil, we want to see it. But we can remember that we don't want to see that anymore. Okay, beyond is here, and you can allow it to appear. So what seems beyond, or what we go into when we go into meditation, what seems innermost, what seems beyond everything we perceive in this world is actually here, is actually the real thing. There's something very soft we can turn toward when we notice our feelings have become hard and harsh, or our thoughts feel hard and harsh. There's something very soft to turn to, and it's safe to have something that seems very soft be in charge of everything. That is forgiveness, turning toward what is here and what is real, instead of turning toward an imagined power that could do harm, that could wield power and harm somebody. That's forgiveness. Not believing something has actually gone wrong, or that someone separate is actually bad, and then deciding, but I'll still attempt to live with you in peace anyway. Forgiveness is understanding, I made you up because I wanted to see you in that form, but you're not that form. You can never be any form, no matter what form I see. You are, however, goodness without opposite, because I am, and I always will be, and you always will be, and that's inescapable. So to acknowledge the inescapable, even though we attempted to escape the inescapable by pretending that there could be an evil that would oppose good, to acknowledge the inescapable and to allow it to rule, that's forgiveness. To know that I made it up, to remember that I made all of it up, and any I can say this because we're all the same I, from whatever angle we're perceiving. And then we allow the cleanup. Now my perception is allowed to change to match our reality. Our reality is innocence joined forever. Our reality is goodness without opposite forever. And we can allow what we perceive to be an exact match to that, an exact reflection of that. That's why we stop when we don't feel good. Because when we don't feel good, we're generating the fiction on top of the goodness without opposite that everyone and everything is. And we're trying to value the fiction rather than the reality. So to set the fiction down and to see it's meaningless is forgiveness. To look toward true meaning, what is shared. That's sanity, and sanity is shared. Just like goodness without opposite is shared, sanity is shared. I can't have a sanity that you also don't have. Our sanity is inescapable. We pretended we could escape it. And a pretending can be done with in an instant. You can just stop pretending, just like that. That being said, we do have a slowly evolving curriculum that helps us, but it also helps us allow, I'm looking for the right words, sweeping transformation, incrementally. I don't know how it's going to look. It seems like some things could be very sudden. It seems like some things could be very gentle and incremental. Gentle and incremental, but what seems most important is to watch the feelings, to notice when the feelings have gone off the rails, and to address it immediately and appropriately, to take that responsibility. That seems to be the most important thing. We're not going to draw wild pictures. We're going to allow ourselves to be guided together in producing a reflection of the beauty that we share. So that's where we seem to be. Let's see if I have anything else to say. Beyond is here, and you can allow it to appear. So what I'm calling beyond, which I could also call goodness without opposite, it's safe to allow it to appear. The ego would talk about many things that are unsafe. And think of all the fear that gets generated there. And then think about our responsibility to set fear down, to find one thought that was associated with that fear, set it down, and to remember beyond is here, and we can allow it to appear. The Christ, the oneness, what we are together, goodness without opposite, it's always here. And we can always stop to acknowledge it. And we can always stop to allow it to take over. Even if we have to stop a lot of times, that's okay. We're here in our classroom. We're learning. We're unlearning. The lies you have believed seemed to make a protective shield around you. Okay, so I have believed lies, and also I haven't. It never happened, but if I don't feel good, I believe it's still happening. I believe I'm still here in this unreal place, and so I do have to address that appropriately. And I know I'm believing a lie when I feel any lack of peace. The interesting thing I'm noticing is that we can pretend to be happy while covering up a space tension, while covering up tension, and it can be a deep habit of appearing, convivial, socially acceptable. And so now I'm starting to see and feel and notice the tension that still seems to be present in various areas, and getting to work on addressing that. Because the lies I still believe, and I'm feeling tension and stress around, but I ignore it, and then I kind of paste a bluster on top of that. That's what I still think is safe or wanted. And it seems every day another aspect of what I still believe is safe and wanted, but really it's this bad feeling I've been ignoring and covering up with some bluster or acceptable social surface, something like that. I keep finding it and then addressing it. So I feel like we're into a new layer we've completely ignored before and deemed acceptable. It has to do with being social, with interaction, with acceptable interaction, and allowing a layer of this to dissolve and disappear, and putting our trust in not our perceived control of our perceived as separate person, but just putting our trust in God, in goodness without opposite, in reality, to guide and seem to power all of us for as long as we perceive, to allow what is real to power that perception. So it seems like it's just going in deeper and deeper and deeper, and it seems like our most cherished safeties from the perspective of the ego are threatened because it's time to let down all the defenses. So I will, as soon as I let the light in, the light is going to shine on the defense I haven't given up yet. And I will feel that tension and stress. And that's just the opportunity to let that one go too. So that's the process. And it explains everything anyone would perceive as a problem or a challenge. It's that light shining on the next layer of defense, which we can release. And when we release it, we allow the solutions in that benefit everybody. There is a great weight you can allow to be lifted from everyone and everything. Doesn't that sound great? When I bump into stress today, I'm bumping into the great weight. And that's what I can allow to be lifted. My personality doesn't lift it. My physicality doesn't lift it. My agreement to let go of the thoughts that seem to harm either myself or others or things. Let's say we believe a particular substance is harmful. Let's say it's a food substance. That's the one that's coming to mind. And we believe if somebody eats it, they're likely to have a particular long-term outcome. And let's say when you bump into that idea today, maybe you eat that thing, that it looks like someone else is out there criticizing it. That's not how it is, but it's how it appears to us right now, right? Our perception is all fake. Even the perception that comes in to reflect very directly the goodness without opposite that we are, that shows that our mind has been cleared up a lot, and then maybe a little more, and then maybe completely. All the perception is fake. So if the perception seems to be telling you someone's criticizing this food stuff that I seem to consume, and there seems to be a long-term harmful effect associated with this food stuff or this habit, it's not reason to dig in and be like, I'm going to eat it all day, just to resist an idea, to get into the idea. Thus and such is harmful. Thus and such would hurt me. Oh, look at me, I'm thinking of myself as a body. Thus and such would end me. Oh, look, I'm thinking of myself as a body, and I'm seeing the body's death, and I'm believing I can be ended, and just looking at the whole architecture of that and knowing I believed this. I saw it because I believed it. I saw someone out there criticizing a food stuff that appears to be what I habitually eat. I saw that happen because I believed things, and I believed things because I wanted to see things. I wanted to see conflict and struggle. I have built myself up as this idea of a separate one to find some idea of safety and protection within one end or the other of conflict and struggle. I did it. No one else did. There's only one I. There's no one else. And I didn't do anything at all because it's all been a fantasy. That was me. So to judge anything that seems to be happening and say people shouldn't criticize foodstuffs and scare people about bad outcomes, but I see the people and the criticizing because I believed thought. And I believed thought because I wanted to see good in opposition to evil. I wanted to see it be possible for separate entities to do wrong. I wanted to see separate entities. There can't be a separate entity. That's a falsehood. But I wanted to see it. So I believed the thoughts about it, and now I seem to experience it. It's all me. Or from your perspective, you can say it's all you. And that's where we can take responsibility for everything we see. We see it because we believe thought. And we believed thought because we wanted to see something other than what is real. And we didn't do anything. Nothing has been done. We imagined the impossible. You can't actually produce the impossible. You can maybe entertain the notion of it. And all of time and space is entertaining the notion of the impossible. That's what we've been up to. And that's what we can drop out of by acknowledging the reality of goodness without opposite. So that's my work today. When I bump into the lies, I believe because I wanted to believe. It's never anybody else's issue. I'm seeing what I want to see 100% of the time. And claiming that responsibility is claiming the power, benign, gentle, loving, kind power I share with you all the time, forever. And that feels beautiful. So we learn to turn consistently toward what is beautiful without knowing how things are going to get solved, but just allowing what is beautiful to solve everything, because it's only perception, and perception is very flexible. So there's a great weight you can allow to be lifted from everyone and everything when we surrender our untrue thoughts. This weight we experience and this weight we perceive seemingly elsewhere is the same weight, and we allow it to be lifted. We remain responsible for how we feel and the thoughts we believe, but all of the other responsibility we give to Spirit, and that's a huge weight gone. And we do that when we're looking to others too. We know that the appearance of others is due to the thoughts we believe. It's not due to some defect in them. And the reality of others is due to the innocence we share. It's due to the sanity we share. It's due to the goodness without opposite that we share. Their reality is pristine, beautiful, perfect. Because mine is and yours is, thank goodness. And if I'm perceiving something different on top of that, I'm partially sane. And I can allow the rest of the cleanup. So here's where we are now. We can allow the rest of the cleanup in our mind, or what seemed to be our separate minds. And then when we've allowed that, we can see very clearly we're in the same one sane, loving mind forever. And if you're from a spiritual tradition where mind means ego mind, monkey mind, in this case the mind I'm talking about would be capital M mind, our unity. And when I'm talking about our false mind, our separate mind, I'm talking about that busy ego mind that's always wrong about everything. Okay. Dominion is shared. So that's what we all have together. Dominion. And it's perfect that we have it together. Because together we're perfect. Together we're beautiful. Together we're sane. Together we're goodness with no opposite. We only dreamed an opposite. Together we extend forever. We're very simple and very beautiful. And together is our joy. So if you associate dominion with joy, dominion with reality, and dominion with clearing up all distorted perception, and showing you and everyone the perfection of everyone's being, letting all the lies fall away. Dominion is our shared power, and true power, not the power we're imagining playing out in a fantasy, but the true power we share that is alive and real in all of us right now, and that we can allow to be in charge. That true power is beautiful, gentle, kind. And our job is to allow it today, to allow it to shift and change perception as that's appropriate for each one of us. So here we are in a beautiful space together, sane, at peace, with a beautiful opportunity here in our right mind, and we can allow it together. Okay, thank you for listening. Happy healing, happy allowing. Thanks.